They are courageous enough to come here, and more so because this program is totally in English, and that's why we should appreciate them. Please give them a big round of applause for all the names which I'll be saying. Payal of class 12, Palak of class 11, Palak, raise your hand, of class 11, Pratiksha of class 7, where is Pratiksha? Then Mayank of class 9. Mayank. Okay, these students will be talking in favor of Russia. And we have Nikhil of class 12 science as well, and he will be favoring Russia. Means he will be in favor of the war.
Present over here. Respected principal sir, all the teachers and my dear friends. Myself Payal from class 12, and today we all are gathered here for the debate competition. The Russia-Ukraine war, justified or not. We all know that in today's time, one of the most issue in our world is the Russia and the Ukraine war. On 24th February 2022, the Russia launched a full-fledged war on the Ukraine. And the tension on Ukraine's border with Russia are their highest in the years. From the invention of the Russia, the US and the NATO, they are supporting the Ukraine. Now let me talk about some of the backgrounds of the Russia and Ukraine. Before the disintegration of the Soviet Union, before the year 1991, the Ukraine was the part of the Soviet Union. And since then, the Russia has to maintain the country in its orbit. With the war, the Russia and the Ukraine war, let us take an example. Like if your neighbor is your enemy and your other's neighbor are forced your enemy to attack on you. Just like this condition is on Russia and the Ukraine. The US, the superpower, they support the Ukraine as against the Russia. So Russia is not pressurizing the Ukraine. It is only about for his security. The Russia wanted to maintain his security in the world, and Russia didn't want to fight any war. Russia simply only mean to withdraw the Ukraine's membership from the NATO, because the NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, it is an organization which was led by the US, the superpower. Due to this, Ukraine has Russia has many threats on its internal security. Then also the eastward expansion of the NATO. With the Ukraine, it has also threat on Russia, and also the US and the NATO members, they wanted to make the missiles in the other European countries like the Poland and the Czech Republic. And these countries are closer with the borders of the Russia, so it is also a threat to the Russia. And also there are many people that living in the Ukraine, they wanted to join the Russia, and also a linguistic group, many of the linguistic group living in Ukraine, they also wanted to merge with Ukraine. So if Ukraine doesn't want the war furthermore, so it can stop the military help, the weapon help from the US, but the Ukraine doesn't. The Ukraine allow the Russian to attack on it.
Principal sir and my dear friends, today I am in favor of Russia that the war is justified. This is not a sudden outburst. The war is building from the past, and the background of Ukraine war unfolds the story that how Ukraine come in direct conflict with Russia, and it proposed NATO membership, and it became independent in 1991 after the disintegration of Soviet Union, and the rivalry between the two sides, one on the NATO and the US on one hand and the Russia on the other hand. And it is due to its strategic partnership between the two sides of military partnership, the program with joining the NATO. And in 1994, the partnership of joining the NATO raised the eyebrows of Russia, and which did not like the reach of NATO to its border, and the Russia claims that the further expansion of NATO has its threat on its interest, and its military moves claims that it was protecting its own security considerations. So in these circumstances, the Russia invaded Ukraine on 24 February 2022. And this is not a war because we are not criticizing Russia, as it is to protect its own security. Thank you.
Good morning. Wait. I'm very sorry to say I won't be able to tell you who the judge is. The judges are sitting at the corners. There are two judges. One is your well-known Rahul sir. Clap your hands. And Khan sir. Clap for the Khan sir also. They are judging and they will judge the best speaker of today's. Okay? Continue.
Good morning, one and all present over here. I am Priyam, and today I'm over here to express my views on Ukraine-Russia war. Ukraine is an independent sovereign country which has the autonomy, which has the capability to take its own decisions, to govern itself without the interference of anyone else externally. Ukraine's interest toward NATO is not instantaneous. Ukraine had relations with NATO since 1992. NATO established an Ukraine-NATO Commission in 1997 itself, providing a discussion forum for military support and to move further in Ukraine-NATO relationships without a permanent membership of Ukraine inside NATO. But now, Ukraine is really interested in taking the permanent membership of NATO in order to get a more better international military support, as NATO's military will be able to propagate inside Ukraine. This will also help Ukraine to make better relations with European power and to get closer with USA as well. This decision of Ukraine to take the permanent membership of it is really obvious after seeing the situation of 2014, the Crimean War. So this is really essential for Ukraine to take this permanent membership in order to get out of the Russian sphere of influence. So the story starts this way. This year, when Ukraine became really eager to join NATO, Russia, in order to show its supremacy, launched a full-fledged invasion on 24th February. Russian President Vladimir Putin excused this full-fledged invasion by calling it a special military operation in order to help the unofficial states of Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republic. And this is not really the first time when Russia really tried to suppress Ukraine. In 2014, as I already said, when Ukraine tried to join the European Union, Russia really tried to suppress that from happening. When Russia was unable to do that using its political power, it used its military power. Seeing this as a golden opportunity, Russia, by giving some silly excuses which didn't make any sense in this scenario, occupied the Ukrainian territory as we know as Crimea. What it was is Crimean War. And even in the war, Russia is not playing a really fair game. Several war crimes have been recorded. This is really obvious that the demotivated, uninterested.
Gita, today I'm honored to speak here about the Russian and Ukraine conflict. As we know, Ukraine unprovoked invasion in 2022 has set alight one of the bloodiest conflict in Europe after the World War II. The Russia invasion on Ukraine is potentially the onset of Europe on the side of Russia behest for an end of NATO's vast expansion. The Ukraine people have suffered so many unspeakable sufferings and devastation as armed conflicts has led to humanitarian loss and human losses, while the main focus remain as it should be on about the tragedy of the human loss and the
destruction of the Ukrainian territory. Many children have been separated from their family and has seen so much sufferings in their youth. It led to a very big impact on their youth. Children fleeing in Ukraine, there are heightened risk of human trafficking. So as I'm on the side of Ukraine, the international communities and the council should prevent all the further escalations to prevent the war and encourage the war at the peace. Thank you.
I'm from Yellow House. Today I'm to express my views on this war of Russia and Ukraine. Is this justified or not justified? In my opinion, it is definitely not justified, not for all country but also for the people, the citizens who are suffering, the youth, the small children who have seen so much destruction in all the country in such a small age. This is a very disturbing thing for their brain, for their coming future. So on 24th February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine, calling it a special military operation, which resulted in thousands of deaths on both sides. Around 8 million Ukrainians have to leave their places in the late May to flee to another country and to save themselves from this destruction. And many Indian youth, the students studying there, were also stuck there. They were trying to come to their own country to save themselves, but many were killed. Like a Karnataka 21-year-old medical student was also killed in this. Till now, thousands of people are killed, and civilians want to stop this war, but because of Russia, this can't be stopped. And another thousands of people are wounded. So war scares us all. War scares the Ukrainian people also, the Russian people also. But in my opinion, this war must be stopped. Russia should stop whatever they are doing. This is not a way to show their power to the Ukraine. So I'm only here to say that this is not justified. Russia should stop, and I am against this war. I am against this invasion of Russia to the Ukraine. Thank you.